Hi, so in this video, we're going to talk about LeetCode 27, which is remove element. So for this one, we're given a nums array and then a value to be removed. So in this case, the value is 3. So to have removed all the 3 inside this array. So in this case, we only have 2 twos here left, and we will return the number of elements of the new array. So in this case, there's only 2 left, right? So we're just going to return 2. And for this one, we have to remove 2. So we'll remove 3 elements here, and you'll return 5. And for this one, I have 2 approach of doing it. They are both using the 2 pointers. So for example, for the first one, we're using maybe a slow and fast pointer. So the red will represent the fast pointer, and the blue will represent the slow pointer. So at first, they'll both point to the first element in the array, and the fast pointer will be the one to loop through the array. So if the current element is the value that we want to remove, then we will not move the slow pointer. We only move the fast pointer. But if it's not the value that we want to remove, like 2, then we will make nums slow equals to the value of num fast, and we'll move both of these pointers. We will see why. So at first, the first round, we know that 3 is the element we want to remove, right? So we only move the fast pointer. And then for this one, we don't want to remove the 2 here. So we'll make num slow equals num fast. So we are putting this 2 here because we want to overwrite this 3 because we don't need it. And then we'll move these 2 pointers next. And for this one, we also want to keep this, right? So we'll put this here. And then we'll also move next. In this case, 3, we don't need it. So we're just going to move the fast pointer. In this case, we're just going to return slow, which is pointing to 2, right? And it will be the total elements inside the new array, which is 2 here. So let's try doing it on LeetCode. So at first, you have to create a slow and fast pointer, and they'll both point to the first element in the array. So fast pointer will be the pointer to loop through the array, right? Then for each round, if the current element fast is pointing to is not equal to value, it means you want to keep it, right? So if num fast is not equal to value, we want to keep it, so num slow equals to num fast. And we'll move the slow pointer by 1. In both cases, we have to move the fast pointer, so we'll put it here. And when the loops end, we're just going to return slow. And it's all accepted. So for the second approach, we are also using 2 pointers, but in this case, we will put the left pointer here and the right pointer here. So now at first, this is pointing to 3, right? So we want to remove this element here. So we're just gonna replace it with the right element, like the element right is pointing to. So in this case, it will be 3 here, and we will move right by 1. The reason why we don't want to move the left pointer is because, there's some case where, like for example, this is not the element 1 that is replacing it here. So in the second loop, in the second iteration, this is also pointing to 3. So we want to remove this one. So we replace it with 2 here, and then move the right pointer by 1 step before. And then now this is 2, right? And which is the element that we don't want to remove. So we're just gonna add left 1. In this case, it's also 2, so we don't want to remove it, and we're just gonna move left 1. And now the loop will break because we return the left pointer, which is 2. And to do this, so for this one, left will be the first element, and then right will be the last element in the array. And then the loop will continue when left is less than or equal to right. So if currently the element left is pointing to is equals to the value that we want to remove, then replace it with the element that right is pointing to, and we'll decrease right by 1. If it's like it's a value we want to keep, so we're just gonna move left by 1. And at the end, we're just gonna return left. So when you submit it, now it's accepted.